Welcome to the JJ Virgin Lifestyle Show with celebrity nutrition expert, fitness Hall of Famer, and 4-time New York Times bestselling author, JJ Virgin. JJ is a warrior mom whose knowledge and expertise have helped change hundreds of thousands of lives with over 3.5 million podcast downloads and appearances on Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, The Today Show, Rachel Ray, Larry King Live.
Whoa. This show is about you, not about me. I want to help you find practical, real-world ways to dial in your health and mindset so you can finally lose that weight and feel strong and energized. Stop settling for less than your personal best. It's time to find out how to look and feel better than ever. And I'll be right here with you the whole way. Hey, it's JJ here, and today's show is fascinating and fun because we're going to actually blow up this whole concept of midlife. I don't know about you, but that just kind of makes my skin crawl. I was like, how did I get here? Wait a minute. I still feel like I'm, 30. And we're going to reframe that as middle of life. And today we're talking about kind of reinventing yourself and really figuring out where you want to be, not what you want to do. And we're doing that with my girlfriend, Sheri Salata, and met her a couple years ago. She was actually the keynote speaker at a charity event that I had in my house. And I hadn't met her before, and she's speaking, and I'm falling just in love with this woman, thinking this is going to be my new pal. She doesn't know it yet, but she's going to be, and now she is. And I just love the book that she's written. It's called The Beautiful No. We're going to be talking about this. You may know her from the Sheri and Nancy show. This is 50, The Pillar Life. And also you may know her from Oprah. Yes, I said Oprah. She worked at Oprah for 20 years, an executive producer for the last 5 of it, and produced the famous season 25 and was co-president of both Harpo Studios and OWN. So she has some amazing stories to tell, but really the biggest stories are the stories of her kind of waking up to her own life and where she wanted to be. And as you read this book, The Beautiful No, I call it the highlighter book because you're just going to relate. You're going to go, oh my gosh, she's in my head with me. And there's so many great stories and so much inspiration. And what I really love is that she's put a workbook together to go with it, which makes so much sense because as I'm reading it, I'm literally highlighting things, writing down notes of things that I want to do. Like it is the book that will inspire you, motivate you, and help you see new possibilities for, the next phase of your life. So you'll be able to get those and the show notes at jjvirgin.com/The Beautiful No. And I'm just beyond excited to share this episode with you. Now, before I do, I want to do a shout out to BUADM Wadham from the USA, who said, left a little 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Says, awesome, easy to understand, and incredibly informative. Subscribed and looking forward to the next episode. So thank you so much for that. Love these reviews because, when you're sitting podcasting, I'm literally podcasting right now from the corner of my bedroom because I'm in a temporary space while we're waiting for our house to close over here in Tampa, my new world. And so, sometimes you're over here going, hey, anyone listening over here? So these reviews mean everything to me. And this is definitely one of those shows that you're going to want to share with all of your friends. Believe me, I can't wait. Anyway, I can't wait. I'm not gonna waste any more time. I want to share one more favorite with you, and then I will be back with Sheri Salata and The Beautiful No. Sheri Salata, welcome to the show. I am super excited to be going deep with you today, my friend.
Oh, JJ, I've been looking forward to this.
I know, the person I fell in love with the minute you opened your mouth when I heard you speaking.
Well, I remember that day at your house, and I can picture right now, I'm looking out in the audience. We're in your massive ranch backyard. Backyard doesn't do it justice. And I remember seeing you, and you're such a bright light that a person almost can't take their eyes off you. And I remember thinking, which rarely happens to me since like junior high, I hope she likes me.
Meanwhile, I'm thinking the same thing too. I'm like, I'm going to go get her to be my friend.
And now we are.
Here we are. Yes,
Yeah.
it's like whether she knows it or not, I will wear her down till she is my friend. So it was instant love, and I am just so excited that you wrote this book, The Beautiful No. First of all, knowing you now and hearing you speak, this is like, it's like I'm sitting next to you having a chat, reading your book. It's so good. You're such an amazing writer.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. That is high praise from you, who's read every book, who has written masterpieces. I'm deeply honored that you feel that way.
Well, so for everybody listening, here's the deal with this book. I get sent books like literally every day, and I can think of 2 books in the last, I don't know, couple months, 3, 4 months that I just have been like, these are my books. And it's yours and talk about diversity, and Joe Mercola's Keto Fast. These were like the 2 books. I'm like, these are my books. And this book is a highlighter book. And I rarely ever say that. You know, when you read a book where you're entertained and your life changes, where you're reading it and you can't wait to turn the next page, but you're getting things out and it's making you have to stop and write things down and think about how it's going to apply to your life. This is that book. It's like that amazing. So let's dive in, because we were talking offline and I was sharing with you that you write a diet book, and if people don't like your diet book, they don't like your diet book. And you're like, okay, fine, you didn't like my diet book. But then when I wrote Miracle Mindset that became Warrior Mom, I was like, well, wow, if people don't like this book, they don't like me. So, you've been kind of the behind the scenes gal for years as Oprah's executive producer, and then working with OWN. And now all of a sudden you are pulling open the kimono.
Oh God, I can
Oh
feel my
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 gosh.
blood pressure's rising.
But it's so important, because your message is a message every woman who is, I don't even like to say midlife, because I'm waiting, like midlife to me is now like 70, 80, 90 years old. But everyone in their 40s and 50s and 60s is like, yeah, sister, go. And so you're sharing all of that reinvention with all of us. But first of all, like, did you realize when you're writing this book that what you were actually doing?
Well, no, I didn't. And I think, what I kept reminding myself of is just be true here, just be true. And I'd go back and look at, the pages I had that had come out of me, and I'd be like, let's go a little deeper, let's go a little deeper. Trying to figure out what's going to happen afterwards, I think almost muddies the waters. You know,
Yes,
it's like,
that makes sense.
I have, a fantastic publisher who is, and by the way, we've reframed that midlife to middle of life. For
I
some,
love that.
the middle of life, it's a middle of life reinvention, because middle's good when you're in your 50s. Middle is like,
Right.
wow,
That's awesome. And
y-
don't you feel like you're just kind of getting started now? Like this is the next best part of it?
well, yes, JJ, because that's the story I decided to tell myself. I think we all have huge decisions to make. We have huge decisions to make. Are we going to be the old-fashioned cultural archetype that we've had our chance at the dance and now we're winding down the party? Or are we going to say, yeah, I've had a few glory days, but not all of my glory days. And what are the next glory days I'm going to manifest here?
And
So,
that's so important,
yeah,
Sheri, because someone would look at your career and go, and I just read something where someone was talking about their retirement, which sounds honestly kind of repulsive to me. And someone could look at you and go, you had it all. Like you were at the pinnacle. You were Oprah's executive producer. Oh my gosh, you did season 25, and think that, okay, that was it. Now it's over.
yeah.
Whereas I feel like talking to you, that was a warm-up act. So, like, what kind of helped you get into that switch and this whole where I see you now kind of publicly doing
Right.
that was the warm-up act, here's what's next?
Well, to be, to boil it down to one word, it's kind of fear that I turn around and look at myself in my mid 50s, and I realize I've manifested a dream come true career. No question about it. a full on dream come true career ride, but not a dream come true life. And so then I'm sitting there with no, just burnt out, my adrenals burnt out, kind of fat and depressed, and with so many areas of my life that were virtually uninhabited. And mind you, it was all my decisions and my choices and my lack of consciousness. It didn't have to do with anybody else. Um, but it was real easy to put all my eggs in that career basket, because once I figured out the career piece, I started working for Oprah in an entry level position when I was 35. So it wasn't like I hatched from an egg and ended up at Harpo Studios. I had
Right.
already.
And everyone has to read this book because your path to Oprah was
It's crazy. Oh
yeah.
my God.
It might have involved a Slurpee or two.
Yeah, I managed a
Yeah.
7-Eleven store, people. I mean, please.
Yeah. It
And I
wasn't what you'd think if she started out in TV as an intern in college at
no,
all.
no, I wore the smock. Those were my smock wearing days.
Hmm.
Yeah, but yeah. So the fear was, I love this. My business partner and I, Nancy, what we said to ourselves was, it's never too late to make the rest of your dreams come true. We decided we were going to believe that. That would be our mantra. We would morning, noon, and night repeat that to ourselves. And in parens, if not now, when? And then even for me, I had a second parens, and if not now, maybe never.
Mm.
And, I know myself that if not now, I mean, at a certain point, I am just going to give up, and I'm just going to say, well, I had that great job for a long time. And, it's the reckoning. It's the moment where you sit down and say, okay, if this is the middle of life, and I believe it is, or could be, should I decide to take care of myself, what is it that I want? What do I want my next days to be? And do I have some dreams left that I haven't made come true yet?
Yeah. I think this is such a big one because, we've all been kind of trained that this is the downhill slide.
Yeah,
And that when you're young, you have all these doors open to possibility, and then they're all just slowly shutting. So how do you take that framework now of creating what's possible and seeing possibility where so many people don't? How do you help? And this book, I think, is such a key jumping off point to help people go, oh, wait a minute. But that's a big thing. What would you say to the person going, yeah, well, that's fine for you, Sheri?
yes,
You were Oprah's executive producer. You can
I
do
know.
anything, right? Okay, because I know what people are thinking, right?
Well,
If you could do that, you could do anything. What you say to the person's like, well, I've been, a mom, and I haven't really ever
that's
lived any of
right.
my dreams, and I feel like it's my time, and I don't even know where to start.
That's right. And that I totally understand. Okay, JJ. Oh my goodness, Bella is now
N-
barking up a
Now
storm.
we have woofy dogs.
Hold
I
on.
think this is perfect
Oh,
because this is real life.
this is
Real
real
life
life.
has
Hold
pings
on
and
one
dings and woofy
second.
dogs. My dog is sitting right here by my side because I've got the everything packed to go to the airport, and she's super concerned that she's not coming. So she's been sitting in her airport bag waiting because she wants to come. But I've been reading, you read your book, and the chapter of your Kissy's rules for a happy life. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh. I'm like, I need to find the dog whisperer who would tell me what my dog is thinking.
I know.
Um,
Listen, there's lessons in everything.
Oh my goodness, it's so good. Okay, so let's go back to the person listening because
Yeah,
I think this is the most I've made a flip in my life that had to happen because the alternate is horrible of what if everything was a warm up and now you can really have everything you ever wanted. You just have to figure out what those things are. Maybe it's the love of your life, maybe it's the next career of your life, maybe it's having the best health and climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. What is it?
that's right. Well, first of all, I think it's there's a so all of us in the middle of life, there's a cultural thing that we have to overcome a little bit. And one of the things, we say that, oh, Sheri, you were Oprah's executive producer. Yes, I had all the information, so I should have figured this out years ago, and I didn't. So that I'm a bit of a cautionary tale that way. Um, but um, I think it begins with, first of all, understanding that this second half, radical self-care has to be a top priority, because all those practices, whether it's as simple as your water intake, your movement, your body movement, some meditation, some mindfulness, taking a walk, being outside in nature, all those things that were on our bucket list or our someday list or when I have time list, those are the feel good practices. And feeling good is the beginning of being able to dream some new dreams. It's very hard to dream new dreams when you're kind of depressed and feel like you don't even have the energy to think up what you want to do in the second half of life. So it's kind of just tapping yourself on your thigh with your hand and saying, "Okay, come on, one little step, one more little step, one more little step," until you start to feel inside. And we all know what this feels like when you start to feel that hope stir, where you start to feel a little bit like, well, maybe I can. And what if I possibly do this? And well, maybe I can have more. And you start to kind of stir that bit of energy up. That's when you can start dreaming again. But you gotta give yourself a little tender encouragement just to get going.
Well, I think some of that comes down to it. This was a crazy thing. I was surveying my community, and I said, if you're not where you want to be with your weight or your health, why not? Why
Yeah.
not? I totally expected it would be because I'm not going to give up my cheese. I honestly, that was like, it's got to be cheese, right?
Isn't it?
It's a deeper issue than cheese, it turns out. It was that they didn't feel good enough, that they didn't value themselves.
Yeah.
And I see this, that for so many of us, we put ourselves last on the to-do list, if we even made it on there.
Right.
And I think part of this is giving yourself the permission to put yourself at the top
Yeah.
of your to-do list, that you realize that at this point, self-care, it's not selfish. It's like no one else is going to say, hey, Sheri, hey, today, why don't you take a little extra time and do a little more meditation and
Yeah.
maybe, have a massage. We'll send
That's
someone
right.
over for you. No one's, this is when you get to practice. I love the whole, radical self-care. I always say that, for me to be low maintenance at this point in life requires a lot of maintenance. It's like super high maintenance to be low maintenance.
Right.
But, you know, this is that time where I also want to reframe that doing this self-care actually isn't selfish, it's selfless. Because if you really want to be there for everybody around you and leave that lasting legacy, you can't, just like you said, you can't be tired and you can't not be able to think straight. It's why when my son was in the hospital in his coma, I went, my top of my list is going to be me, not him,
Yeah.
not my other kid, not the book. That the only way I was going to pull this off with me at the top of the list. So I think that's a key takeaway is you have earned putting yourself at the top of your list.
Well, and yes, and also, so that's a shift in thinking that you've got to overcome some stereotypes, some messages that you grew up with in for our generation. Not so much with the 20s and the 30-year-olds. That they're not plagued by this as deeply. So you've got to overcome that a little bit. And then, what I also find really interesting, JJ, and maybe I was like this at one time too. Everybody wants to change the world. They want to serve the world. They want to volunteer. They want to be of service. And yet they're depleted. They're somewhat resentful. They're worn out. They're nothing about their daily practices in their lives is designed to uplift them. And what I realized is, wow, my contribution to the world is my happiness. That is because happy people are the ones who literally change the vibration and the energy of everything around them. And that I think that is a new understanding of why you need to put yourself first and you need to make self-care a priority. That is really the beginning of your true contribution to the world.
Don't you think that's part of your, when you talk in the book about the to do versus the to be?
Yeah. Well,
I think that kind of
yes.
flows into that.
Yeah. Well, and I lived my life. I lived and died by to-do lists. To-do lists so long they look like an animated Santa's list. And, there were moments when I just
I
felt
actually have written to redo my to-do list on my to-do list. I kid you not. I'm like listening to this going, cringe.
I know. And sometimes, I mean, sometimes that to-do list, now, sometimes I write things down just because, I don't want to forget it. But that to-do list thing, it felt like it was strangling me. It was squeezing the life out of me. And in all that doing, because listen, when you're in the middle of life, you have some more spiritual awareness than you ever have had before, and clearly the beingness is the jackpot. What are you being? Who are you being? What are you emanating? What is the being essence of your day in and day out? Are you being peace? Are you mindful? Do you feel that that sense of pulsating joy and appreciation? Well, it's very hard to focus on your beingness when you're running around like a nut trying to get all the check marks on your to-do list.
But it's actually it's much easier because you don't have to focus on your beingness, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Well,
it's an avoidance technique.
it's an avoidance technique. It is literally the strategy of unconsciousness, which I have employed many times to
I
my
know.
regret.
We could also call this waking up,
Yeah,
waking up and
exactly.
going, oh, wow, there's all this stuff around here I could actually participate in. How
That's
amazing.
right.
And let's talk about participating in that because, I look at this and go, what a weird day it must have been the day you woke up, and you woke up both metaphorically and in,
Yeah.
reality. And you went, oh, I don't have anywhere I'm supposed to go or
No.
do, or like how weird that must have been. What did you do?
It
Like, what
was
did you
really
do in
super weird. It was like waking up and I have a blank calendar and it's the middle of the week because I think the next day was like a weekday. And I was like, okay, what goes on during a weekday out in
that?
the world? Even for years at the Oprah show, the Harpo Studios was a city block. It was kind of like a concrete bunker. And I'd go in there when it was dark in the morning and I'd go home when it was dark at night. So and inside there was all this life going on, but it was very strange, and it's like the world had changed. Where I'd go into a coffee shop and people were literally running empires from their laptops while they sipped on a latte, and I was like, "Wow, what a different world this is." But it took a little bit of a minute. I mean, listen, I was tired, so there was a part of me that felt huge relief. Um, but it was a little bit like, wow, there's all this time and there's all this space. And now what? Now what am I going to do with this?
Yeah, must have been a little bit of struggle to feel like you just wanted to fill it with stuff.
Well, I mean, I even, even let's see, now it's 3 years later. Even now, I have to stay on myself. I have to stay very vigilant because my default position is go unconscious and get yourself really busy.
Hmm.
And, so a book launch, oh my goodness. Well, that is like
Right?
it's like
There's
catnip,
so many things to do.
catnip for my unconscious strategy. Right. I mean, I could just be busy doing from dawn till dusk and out goes my workout and then, I don't have time to make a salad. So, it's such those neural pathways are so deep that I think for the to the end of my days, I'm going to have to stay super, super hyper vigilant about continuing to choose the kind of day I want to have and not letting it happen to me because of
And
old patterns.
I think this is super important too, whether because I just had one of my coaching clients say this to me the other day. One of my business coaching clients was like, well, she almost intimated that I like don't take that I was like overworking and stressed. And I go, actually, I probably work a lot less than you. And I really have my whole life designed so that I can get my sleep in. Like
Yeah.
I am like live by my aura ring and my little sleep score and my workouts in and my food in and like everything's scheduled so that when I travel or wherever else, all that's set up for me. My massage, I had a massage last night. Like I am so like that is priority one.
Yeah.
and then the rest of that stuff fits in. And so I'm thinking about, like, what would you say to someone who, say, right now is saying, well, that's fine for you gals, but I'm an attorney, or I'm still
Yeah.
working at, I know, even when I was working on Dr. Phil, those ridiculous, crazy hours, I still was making sure that I got my workouts in and I
Yeah.
was doing my stuff and
Well,
eating correctly.
you're perfect.
I am. I know.
You're
I'm glad you
perfect.
recognize that. See,
I
that's
know.
why I love you so much.
You're perfect. I cannot say any of that. I was not able to do, or I chose not to do any of that. But here's what I can see now. I could see how, using my strategy of unconsciousness was, the practical matter is we are, you have to take a look at how you're spending your time. And now today, this was not years ago, this would not have been one of the things, but today, here's the first thing I ask my friends. How many hours do you while away scrolling through Instagram or Facebook? Looking at other people's lives instead of meditating or doing some breath work or doing some stretching. Or what how much mindless. I remember I always had a TV on in my house. And I
Mm.
would say something ridiculous like, well, I'm in the business, but that wasn't why. It's just I had this assault of energy. I just wouldn't go to the quiet, centered place. And listen, you can mindlessly watch TV, and you can scroll through other people's lives on social, or you can take back that time and spend it on yourself. And that's the first place I'd look to find the extra time to begin to just to slowly begin. You don't do it in a day, but slowly begin to turn. And I'm still doing it.
Me too. Don't call me perfect either. I'm doing it
I'm
too.
still doing it. It's
We're all doing
I'm
it.
looking
It's
for
a
those
process.
net gains.
Mhm.
10 steps forward, 7 steps back, 3 steps net gain.
So let's talk about those, because I'm thinking, when Grant was in the hospital, here I am standing next to my son in a coma and thinking, all right, well, I'm not leaving here, and I've got to launch a book, and I've got to take care of my other son. And what's leaving out of my life? And it's amazing how much you can either automate, delegate, delete. I love that
Yeah.
that little phrase, and how many things we're doing that just you're like, well, I don't really need to do that. And I still catch myself doing that because they sneak back in
Yeah.
this silly, ridiculous stuff. And sometimes I think as women, we need to putter, so sometimes, like right now, I'm in escrow in a house. I don't think I told you this. So I'm looking at, like, you know, furniture magazines and
Ooh,
stuff. It's so fun. It's
nice.
like, Tim was joking as we were looking at houses. He goes, "This is like your Match.com, this Zillow." I go, "It is," and now,
Ah.
now it's furniture sites. But, someone now doing this, let's talk about, because you said I'm looking for the net gain. What are a couple of the biggest things? Because I think this is a great kind of wrap up. The biggest shifts you've made that are someone could start to look at for their own life that are giving you those great net gains.
Making sure that my meditation practice is consistent. That
And do you have a secret for how you get that consistent?
I remind myself what I used to feel like when it wasn't. I I'll sit down, and even if, like, well, it's not going to work today. It's just not going to work today, but I'm going to sit down anyway, and I'm going to give it a whirl. It's just non-negotiable. And there's other things like honestly, I can't get to a place. I'm not at a place yet where I can make my workout non-negotiable or a bunch of other things, but I am at that place on meditation. It's non-negotiable because it's the foundation for everything else. It's easier for
Mhm.
me to follow through.
Well, and I also think you pick something that is important, that you can have a win on, and you do that one, and then you go to the next one.
That's right.
Instead of saying, "You know what? I'm gonna exercise, I'm gonna eat right, I'm gonna skip my sleep, I'm
That's
gonna
right.
meditate." It's like, "Oh, good Lord. No, you're not either. Just pick
That's
one."
right.
You
If you
know?
pick one, feel
Stop it.
better, then what else do you wanna do for yourself? Like,
Mhm.
you literally choose things that put you in the mood to honor and love yourself.
So I still have meditation on the list, you see?
Yeah.
So I'm not Miss Perfect.
I don't know. You're pretty good. You're a guiding star, girl.
And in my area, I'm a guiding star. In your area, you're a guiding star. We're all here. I believe we all here are to leave a legacy. And I totally agree with you that you have to start with yourself. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous, like to leave it's not a legacy of what not to do. So let's not leave that one. And I love this idea of just starting with that thing and just making it non-negotiable
Yeah.
and just moving forward.
And that's kind of like the opportunity. Here we are in what we're now terming the middle of life, because it's so much more exciting and inviting and positive. And that's the opportunity. We're so much smarter. We care less about what other people think. We care more about what we think. And that's the big opportunity. Like, to really make sure that your glory days are ahead of you.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's a great, great way to end. And what I love is this, that you've created a workbook to go with the book. I love that so much,
Yes.
because I literally so I was on the Stairmaster, and I was doing my burst training with the book, jumping off the Stairmaster to make notes about what things I needed to implement, because it really needs a workbook. So I love the fact that you created a workbook, and I love the fact that it's my favorite word, free.
Yes.
That's even more exciting.
Yay.
So yay, double yay. So everyone is going to be able to grab this, get this for free at jjvirgin.com/the beautiful no. An amazing title for a book. It will make sense when you read it. And this is a book that you are going to want to get the physical copy of, because it's a highlighter book. I mean, I literally am holding it right now. I have, the cover's all wrinkled up now. I've been dragging it around all over the place. It's always in my carry-on because it's just so good.
JJ,
So I'm
thank you.
super excited about this. And I don't, literally, I mean, I get sent tons of books. This is one of those. I know we're having a meeting of our group, and I pinged Sheri immediately and was like, will you do a book reading? And can we talk about upliftment? And there's literally principles in this book that are becoming my guiding principles. So it is that level of amazing. So I'm super excited for everyone to get this, and to get this workbook. Again, jjvirgin.com/the beautiful no. And I just love and adore you to pieces. I'm so excited that you agreed to be my friend so quickly, and I didn't have to stalk you for years, but I would have.
Oh my gosh, you are amazing. And this is, I can't even tell you, my heart is soaring. And I love you so much, JJ.
Hey, it's JJ, and I am back to give you an action step from today's interview so you can put this into immediate action. First off, I want to do a big reminder to grab that workbook, and you can get that at jjvirgin.com/the beautiful no, because you're going to find, as you're reading the beautiful no, and as you're going through the workbook, you're going to find a thing that you go, ooh, this is where I want to focus on. And there was a lot of gold in this interview, but the big thing I want to underscore in this interview is Sheri saying, we're a work in progress, and pick one thing that you're going to master. And once you've mastered that, then go on to the next. We tend to look at things and go, oh my gosh, I need to improve. I'm going to do all of these things. And when you try to do a whole lot of stuff, nothing happens. But if you just pick one thing that you can win at and build on that, once you've got that one dialed, then go to the next. If you look at the way that I approach all of my different health programs, we never sit down and go, hey, this is so great. Actually, I did approach this at the beginning, but discovered that it doesn't work. So at the beginning, the big way I approached all of this was, here's what we do. This is how we're going to start. We are going to start with just one thing. So maybe it's food intolerance, or maybe it's sugar, or maybe now it's fitness. Pick that thing that you can really dial in. And then once you've got that one dialed, go on to the next. When I read the book, the concept that just jumped out at me and said, this is where I really want to focus and work, is upliftment. And upliftment, you might think, how can I help other people lift? No. Upliftment starts with you. And how can I become a better person? What can I do? And I know that was my big one that I am working on right now, is upliftment, living that way. So I can't wait to hear from you as to which one of these things resonates for you, where you're going to start. Love to hear from you on social media, Instagram, jj.virgin, or Facebook, JJ Virgin Official. And one big more reminder, if you've not left a review yet, oh my gosh, they make our day. So me and the whole team, all of Team JJ, read those reviews. So I would so appreciate that. And of course, while you're there, remember to subscribe so you do not miss any of the juicy goodness that comes out of these shows, like today's one with Sheri. All right. Thanks so much. See you next time.
That's all for this episode of the JJ Virgin Lifestyle Show, which marks another step towards a healthier body and mind. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the show, and we'll talk to you next week.